What is up, homies? Welcome to the video. So I've been slacking on my YouTube game recently. Sorry, priorities have been my clients and figuring out some other stuff for my business, but I'm here with a video for you. So a couple weeks ago, I made a video on why I think everybody should track their macros for a period of their life to know what they're eating. If you want to know more about that, go and check that one out. But this one is to follow up with that. So let's say you're ready to track your macros. What exactly does that mean and how do I do it? And so that is what I'm going to talk about in this one. This is for if you already know what your macros are. So once you know your macro targets, how many carbs, how many grams of fat, how many grams of protein you should be eating on a daily basis. Once you know that, actually tracking it with pen and paper or with an app, that's what I'm going to get into right now. Alright guys, before we get into the nitty-gritty of tracking our macros, I wanted to give a reminder and quickly explain that your macro calculations are targets, meaning when they're calculated or given to you, they already account for your goal, whether your goal is to maintain your current body weight, to lose fat, or to build muscle and put on size. That's why they're targets. It's a game. They're a bullseye and you want to try to hit them right on. One misconception that people have is that your macro numbers are just a ceiling, and as long as you stay under, you're good. So I would actually recommend, and I'm showing you on the screen here with my macros for that current day. My target was 145 grams of protein. If I can stay within 5 grams of that, then you should be fine. My carbs was 157 grams. I think there's a little bit more leeway when it comes to your carbs. And my fat macros for the day was 45 grams of fat. With fat, you need to be very careful to stay as close as possible. I would recommend trying to get just within a couple of the target just because fat is more calories than the other two macronutrients at 9 calories per gram of fat, whereas the others are only 4 calories per gram of fat. As far as fiber goes, there is a wide range that you can hit, but at least 25 grams of fiber is good. You just want to make sure that you are staying full and that your digestion is working properly. Okay, now let's actually get to the tracking part. There are multiple ways that you can track your macros. One of them is actually by just writing it down with a pen and paper, or in my case, a marker and paper. So what I did is I wrote the date across the top and I wrote my macro targets. I made a column for carbs, a column for protein, and a column for fat. I'm going to show you what I had for breakfast and what it would look like if I wrote it down. I made myself a couple of breakfast tacos using 2 tortillas, eggs, cheese, and some sliced avocado. Now, if it's a pre-packaged item, then you'll be able to find the macros on the nutrition facts somewhere on the package. It's a little difficult to see here, but I'm pointing out that the tortilla has 2 grams of fat, 13 grams of carbs, and 3 grams of protein. Now, pay close attention to serving sizes when you're tracking your macros. That's for 1 tortilla, so when I write it down, I need to account for the fact that I ate 2. You'll notice as I write it down on my paper, I actually list out the ingredient on the side, and then I doubled those macro counts I told you just a minute ago and lined them up under the appropriate column. So there was 13 grams of carbs. Since I had 2 tortillas, I wrote 26 grams, 6 grams of protein, and 4 grams of fat total. Then I'll continue listing out the macros for the rest of the ingredients in my tacos. Now I want to touch on what you would do if you have an ingredient that doesn't come in a package with nutrition facts. For example, your produce like my avocado. One of the great things about the age that we live in is that we can Google it. So literally all I do is I can Google USDA avocado nutrition facts. So the reason I look up the USDA is because that's the U.S. Department of Agriculture. The USDA has a comprehensive database of nutrition facts for your fruits, and your vegetables, basically all the things that are grown. I then altered the Google search to add on 100 grams because I didn't want the calories and the macros for a whole avocado. I wanted to specifically look at what the macros were for 100 grams of raw avocado. You can see I pulled it up on the screen here. The first column actually said value per 100 grams, and underneath would show me the total calories, the carbs, the grams of fiber, sugar, everything, protein, everything you would want to know about 100 grams of avocado. It will all be listed there for you. So this is where a food scale comes into play. If you don't have a food scale and you want to make sure you're eating the correct portions, having one is vital. Mine tracks ounces and grams. I also have a different one that will track liquid measurements like fluid ounces and milliliters as well. But you want one that at least will do ounces and grams. So we looked up the information for 100 grams of avocado. I actually only used 25 grams in my tacos. And so I put the dish on top of my food scale that was going to hold my avocado, and I zeroed it out. That was the tar button. And then as I cut and put the avocado into the bowl, you can see the numbers go up 16, 18, 20 until I got the desired amount, which was 25 grams exactly. As you can see, there is some basic math involved in tracking your macros. Because 25 grams is 1/4 of 100 grams, I took those numbers that I searched on the internet and I divided them all by 4 before I wrote it down on my sheet of paper. For 25 grams of avocado is approximately 2 carbs, 1/2 gram of protein, and 4 grams of fat. I then continued to track the other 2 ingredients that were in my breakfast tacos, which were some egg whites and some reduced fat shredded cheese. Both of those were very easy to track because I could get the macro information from the packages. I did use the type of egg whites that come in a carton, so I already had that information as well. The last thing I did was total up all of the ingredients to see what my macros were for breakfast. You can see that my tacos ended up being around 30 grams of carbs, 20 grams of protein, and 10.5 grams of fat. When I first started tracking macros, I first did everything by hand just like this. Now I use an app on my phone called MyFitnessPal. MyFitnessPal has a free version and a paid version, and I've always used the free version. So I'm showing you how you go into the app. It is already installed on my phone, and you're looking at meal 1. Which is, of course, my breakfast tacos, and I've already added the flour tortillas, the shredded cheese, and the egg whites. Now all I have to do is add in the avocado. So I tap on Add Food, and then I can search for a food. One of the nice things about the app is that it's pretty smart, and the things that you eat often, once you start typing it in, it will bring it up for you and be at the top of the list. So there's the avocado for 100 grams. And I can change the serving size. Since I only had 25 grams, I can change it to say 1/4 of a serving. Press the little check box, the check mark, and it will add it to my meal. So you can see it now. I have the cheese, the egg whites, and the avocado. It's all listed together. It was 290 calories. And if you turn the phone sideways, it pulls up even more information. You can see the 30 grams of carbs, the 10 grams of fat, we said 10.5, but it rounds, and 20 grams of protein, the same numbers we got when we did it by hand. There is always a learning curve whenever you use any app or technology, but once you get the hang of it, it makes things very simple and easy because the app keeps a running total of your macros for you, and most people carry their phone everywhere they go, so it's super convenient. Alright guys, so I hope you thought that that was helpful. If you've never tracked before, or if you needed a refresher, that's a couple ways that you can do it. So if you did think it was helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Comment if you have any more questions. I would love to answer them for you. I do have more videos in the works, how to track different things, especially meat, alcohol, and froyo, because yes, priorities. And there's a lot more stuff coming in the future. It will be a lot better at getting some videos out, I promise this time. And you can follow me on Instagram at Mandy Nicole Fit if you're not already. I do have a Pinterest. I'm trying to get better at doing that too, because I have all these incredible like recipes and workouts and stuff, and I know that's a great place to put that stuff. Pin them on your board, save them for later when you want to get back to it. So I will see you in the next one, and yep.